has been working very closely for a long time now. She's, was primary in our staff team that developed the eCare app, and she has been working since with our team here and all of you across the state to refine it and take recommendations back to Dr. Pam Duncan. And you all know Pam as our lead principal investigator, and they've been working really, really hard with teams here and all the way to Bulgaria to build the next phase of COMPASS called COMPASSCP, or care planning. And so we thought that it would be really great if Rica, a lot of hard work has been done of recent, it's all pulling together now, and we thought it would be really exciting to share with you the work that she and Pam and others have been doing so that you can get your appetites wet for the next phase of COMPASS. So I'll stop there and turn over to you, Rica. We're all excited to hear about your important work.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. So I do have a special guest with me. She is an intern that's working with me, and she has been also instrumental in COMPASSCP as well. So I will go ahead and let her introduce herself as well.
Thank you, Rica. My name is Rachel Croxton. I'm a graduate student at Wake Forest University. I'm working with Rica as her assistant intern. So it's great to meet you all.
Yes, and she's been great while I was out in the Philippines for 3 weeks. So I'm actually really excited to show you this, and so if I go on and do this presentation and I'm kind of going sidetracked, it's because I'm actually really excited. So I might sound scatterbrained. So you guys have to help me reel myself in. I'm just really excited to show you guys the enhancements to the eCare app. So I will go ahead and start the presentation on COMPASSCP. And so basically the goal of my presentation is to introduce the commercialized product of the eCare app, and we are calling it COMPASSCP. And then also it is, while I'm showing you the COMPASSCP application, I also want to gain your feedback for further enhancements as Rachel and I and Dr. Duncan and I continue to develop this. So what I'm about to demonstrate to you today is a version 1. It's just a draft version of everything. So I still do welcome your feedback, and you're more than welcome to, after this presentation, if you want to sleep on it for a while and you're thinking about COMPASSCP, feel free to email me or Sylvia with any new feedback even after today, because we welcome anything. So I will just go ahead and start from the very beginning. And of course, you guys know this, but we developed the eCare application, also known as the eCare app, through the PCORI-funded COMPASS trial. And this is not all old news to you guys, but the eCare app is a tool that comprises of all the patient-reported assessments, and it generates an individualized care plan for the patient in real time at the point of care. So this is, most of you guys already know this. However, when our principal investigators got together, they realized that in order to make the COMPASS model sustainable after this 5-year trial, they knew that they had to make the eCare app sustainable as well. So how do we go about making the eCare app sustainable? Well, we knew from you guys, we knew that the eCare app needed to integrate with the medical record. That was the most important thing that we knew we had to do if we wanted all of our hospitals to use the app outside of the study. So that is actually what we are doing right now. And so now the eCare application becomes COMPASSCP. So where did the name COMPASSCP come from? COMPASSCP is the new name of the commercialized app, and COMPASSCP means COMPASS Care Planning. So the hope of this application is to develop it, beta test it, and refine COMPASSCP and make it available to the market, to hospital systems after this study has ended. So that is also what I mean whenever I say this is the new commercialized application. So we are actually going through the ropes of developing it, doing the market research behind it, coming up with the sales team, licensing it to health systems. So that is what I mean by the commercialized app. And so with the COMPASSCP, of course, you know Dr. Duncan. She is our fearless leader. She is the brains behind COMPASSCP, but we do have other people who I turn to for input when developing the COMPASSCP. And these people are known as co-founders, along with Dr. Duncan as our principal founder. But as many of you know, Dr. Bushnell, she is also a co-founder and also a PI on the COMPASS study as well. And then we have Dr. Allison Brashear. She is the chair of our neurology department. And then we also have Mr. Scott Rushing, and some of you guys may know his name through emails. He is the one he's the head engineer or head developer for our eCare app with the COMPASS study. So now we are using his expertise to help us develop the COMPASSCP application. And so there is also Dr. Ralph D. Agostino. He is a professor in our biostatistical department, and he is also another PI on our study. And we are using him to do predictive analytics for COMPASSCP, which is another update to the eCare app, or to COMPASSCP that wasn't on the eCare app before. So these are just, these 5 people are the brains behind COMPASSCP. And they've just been instrumental. I've been working closely with them on how to make COMPASSCP better than the eCare app. So just how do we develop the COMPASSCP? So unfortunately, COMPASSCP is not part of the PCORI-funded COMPASS trial, so we cannot use that $14 million. So what Dr. Duncan has done is that she has searched for additional funds here at Wake Forest Baptist Health. So we did get additional funding, and that funding has led to, we're using the fundings for 2 reasons. One is the first reason to actually develop the COMPASSCP application, but also another funding is to do the market research with a consulting firm with Blue Door. So right now, currently, as the team lead or the project manager of COMPASSCP, I am working closely with an outside health IT vendor by the name of Interoprion. And they are actually headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah, but their programmers are housed in Bulgaria. So I'm working closely with them to develop the COMPASSCP application. So I have meetings with them constantly, all the time, every day I'm working with them along with Rachel, and we're going back and forth on what we need to do to enhance the eCare app and embed it into COMPASSCP. So I'm currently working with them as well. And so another part of the funds was also used to do market research. And so what do I mean by market research? So what I mean by, so after this study is over, the intent is to hire some salespeople, like a marketing department, to reach out to health systems to market COMPASSCP. And so the reason we need this market research is because we need to know the correct profile of the health systems who we should target first. Do we target health systems in rural areas? Do we target systems in metropolitan areas? Do we target primary stroke centers or comprehensive stroke centers? So that is what the funds are being used for as well, to do market research so we can take the right strategy to do the right marketing after the COMPASS study trial has ended. So there has been a lot of changes to COMPASSCP that is actually in the eCare app now, but it's been enhanced in COMPASSCP, or we have actually done away with it. So I'm going to give you the high-level changes and the low-level changes. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of it, because I'm actually going to switch screens and actually go into the COMPASSCP app and actually show this to you in detail. So this is just more of an overview, but I'll just go down the list of the high-level changes. And so I think the first most important thing, which I think is the biggest enhancement, is that the COMPASSCP will be launched from the electronic medical record now. So if you're using Cerner or Epic or any other EMR. The COMPASSCP will be launched from that, so you will not have to log on into a separate system. And so there is going to be more precise identification of stroke and TIA patients. And what I mean by that is now COMPASSCP is actually going to be identifying the stroke and TIA patients for you. So a lot of you have told us that, you know, just with your competing demands, it's hard for you to go ahead and identify those stroke patients. So what I love about this new COMPASSCP product is that it's actually going to do that for you. And I'm excited that the two top are my favorite changes, because that is the biggest feedback that we've actually heard from you guys that you guys need for the eCare app, and we are now finally implementing it into COMPASSCP. So I'm really excited to show you all of that. And so another difference is the patients will now receive the care plan through email, and the nurses will now have the ability to put in a what I like to call a recovery address. So what I mean by that is a lot of the feedback that we have gotten is that when you put in the enrollment form, you are putting in the address of that patient, but come to find out by the time that patient comes to a clinic, they are at a different address. Maybe they moved into their daughter's house because their daughter's their caregiver. So we actually don't have an accurate address anymore. So what our COMPASSCP application is going to do is it'll automatically, like I said, it is going to identify those stroke patients for you, and it'll automatically populate the address, but we give the nurses the ability to edit that and input a recovery address. So what is the address that the patient's going to be at during their recovery? And I will go into detail about that. The community resources will now be given a radius. So what I mean by that is that when the community resources are populated on the care plan, it will give the nurses the ability to do with resources within a 5-mile radius or a 20-mile radius. Some of the feedback that we've been getting is that, you know, a patient may live in Forsyth County, but they may live on the edge of Forsyth County, which is really on Forsyth County and Stokes County line, like my parents actually do. So because of that, the patient's actually getting the wrong community resources. So we do give the ability for the nurses to now choose a radius. So if a patient is living in Forsyth County, but they go back and forth within Stokes County, we do give you that ability to increase that radius. Another change to the COMPASSCP app is that we are no longer putting in the disposition forms and the consents. And that is because the disposition forms and the consents were only for research purposes, but because COMPASSCP will be used outside of the study, it's no longer going to be for research purposes, so we no longer need those forms available. So also number 7 is COMPASSCP will have the same functionality as Compass's web-based application. So what I mean by that is, if you think of our eCare app now, in order to get into the eCare app, you actually have to go into the web-based application where you enroll a patient, and then when it's time to do the assessments, you go outside of that. You have to go into the eCare app, and then if you do the 30 and 60-day call, you have to go back into that web-based application, which is really confusing. And also that web-based application gives you the task that you are to do for today. So when you log into it, you get what patients need a 2-day follow-up call. Which ones need a 30 and 60-day call. So the new change that we're making is that everything is going to be within the COMPASSCP app. You will not have to go into another system. So the COMPASSCP has the eCare plan, all the assessments. It'll have the patient list for you. It'll have the follow-up tasks for you to do, such as the 2-day call and a 30 and 60-day call. So we'll have everything in one system, unlike how we have it now, where we have 2 different systems and you have to go back and forth. So another thing, number 8, is that there will no longer be an advanced practice provider assessment. We have actually moved the questions from the advanced practice provider assessment into the post-stroke functional assessment. So the questions are still there. It's just not in the APP assessment. It's in the stroke functional assessment. And so number 9, as I have in quotations, preview is no longer required to build the care plan. And so what I mean by that is, you know how you have to build the care plan, you have to hit on preview first, and then you can hit continue and finalize. And so the feedback that I've been getting from the hospitals is that if you need to do multiple builds of a care plan, it's just really annoying to have to click on that preview button. So we do have a way for you do not have to click on preview in order to build it. So these are just some of the high level changes. And then this next slide is some low level changes. So unlike the eCare app for COMPASSCP, we do have a way for the assessments to be auto-saved. So the assessments will be saved every 5th question. And so this was definitely an enhancement that we had heard from you guys. You guys are doing an assessment, and all of a sudden you get a page or you get a very important phone call, and you have to take the phone call or take the page. So you leave the eCare app and it doesn't save any of the answers for you. So COMPASSCP will now save, auto-save those questions. And so another enhancement is that any missed questions will now be highlighted. So if you think of that 2-day follow-up call on the eCare app, how it's that long page, and then you go down at the very end and you click on save and finalize. But then a pop-up comes saying, well, you forgot to answer a question. So you guys are searching through what that question is. So for COMPASSCP, we will actually now highlight that question for you, and it's actually highlighted in pink. So you guys can easily see what that missed question is. And another change is that the caregiver assessment icon will only be displayed if it was triggered. As you know, the caregiver only needs to be performed if it was triggered by the post-stroke functional assessment. So here on the COMPASSCP app, if the caregiver assessment was never triggered, then that icon is not going to show up on the patient's dashboard at all. And so the 4th change is that now we are giving the nurses the ability to delete, restart, edit, and continue the assessments. Some of the feedback that we've gotten is that maybe a PAC started completing an assessment and didn't mean to, and so we actually don't give you a way to delete those answers. You actually have to email me, and then I have to go through my programmers and the data team. So now we actually give you the ability to delete the whole assessment if maybe you started entering data on the wrong patient. So we do give you that ability as well. All right, so now for the exciting part, I'm actually going to go into the COMPASSCP app. So before I do that, does anyone have any questions before I move on? Is everyone excited?
I am.
Who said that?
It's me, Sylvia.
Oh,
because
okay.
I get to hear from you all, you all who are using the current app, some of the little hiccups that Rica is talking about in the high level and low level changes to where we're making it a lot better, a lot more efficient and effective for you to use. So I know you're hearing it for the first time, but I've been getting snippets of it all along. So I am excited to be to this point. Thanks, Rica, for sharing.
Yeah, so I do want to share this one graphic before I show you the application, but this is more of the flow of COMPASSCP. So as I said in number 1, COMPASSCP is going to be launched from your EMR system. So you log into Epic, you log into Cerner, you can click on the COMPASSCP icon, and you actually don't need to have a separate login because it's tied to your medical record. So that's just the difference between COMPASSCP and the eCare app. With the eCare app for the research study, you have your own separate login for Epic or Cerner, and then you have your own separate login for the eCare app. So this is all going to be, for COMPASSCP, it's all going to be embedded into your electronic medical record. And then once you click on that COMPASSCP icon, that's when the app will show up. But it's also going to automatically push and populate any patients with a stroke or a TIA, and they do this by the presenting diagnosis. So you will no longer have to pull reports or come up with many different reports to find out if you missed a patient. COMPASSCP will automatically pull your stroke and TIA patient cohort for you. So that's just a FYI to you, and we will automatically push important key variables such as the race, the age, the date of birth, all that stuff that you fill out on the enrollment form now. You will not have to do that because it will automatically be pulled from Epic. So that's just some of the good news that I wanted to share with you guys, because a lot of the feedback is that this actually takes time to do case ascertainment, and a lot of you guys have other responsibilities as well. So this is one less thing that you have to worry about, because the new COMPASSCP app will do that for you. But of course, we would like for you to still manage it, to still periodically check to make sure that list is correct, because we do also have the ability for you to enter someone manually if somehow it was missed. But hopefully with our algorithms in place and this will not happen. But I just want to give you that feedback, show you this diagram. So now I am actually going to go ahead and show you what it looks like. So here we go. Let me just pull it to you guys. It's thinking. Hang on real quick. It's loading. Okay, so this is actually what the dashboard is going to look like now. Can everyone see that? Yes, we can see it, Rica. Okay, thank you. So when you go into Epic and you are on a patient, let's just say you go to Amy E. Clark's chart, and this patient has either a stroke or TIA, you are going to see the COMPASSCP icon. And so when you click on this icon, this will now pop up. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same as the eCare app. You have the 2-day post-discharge follow-up, the stroke functional assessment, there's the caregiver assessment, the provider report, and the care plan. And so just as an FYI, you will no longer see the advanced practice provider report. So I will go ahead and, as you can see for my 2-day post-discharge follow-up call, it has already been completed by me. I'm John Smith, and I did it on the 4th. So I would just click on view. And so you are able to go back and see the assessment. And as you can see, whenever I click on something, it will not let me click. This is read only. So this is an enhancement that we incorporated here, because feedback in the eCare app is that some of you guys maybe want to go back to the 2-day follow-up call just to see what the patient said on the question. But when you go to it, you accidentally enter something else, so it changes the data. And so feedback from you guys was that we knew that we needed to make something read only after you guys completed an assessment. So this here is read only, and it is 1-pager, just like the eCare app. So I will go back to her dashboard. And so let's just say that maybe you actually entered this data on the wrong patient. You meant to do it for Mary Poppins. You didn't mean to do it for Amy E. Clark. So we do have a way for you to delete everything. We do have a way for you to edit if you just want to edit one question, and we do have a way for you to just completely restart it. But I would just hit delete. So now everything is wiped out. So as you can see, if I go back to the 2-day post-discharge follow-up call, it has now been put back to not started, and now I get to do the assessment. So I will just quickly fill out some questions for you. And so one of the enhancements that we put is that, I'll just click on this real quick. So this is a 1-pager, just like the eCare app, but we know some of you guys maybe have poor eyesight, or you want things to be more prominent. So one of the things that we did to change the interface of this is that we have a way for the script to pop up to you. So if you guys go to the right-hand side of my screen right here, and I will just click on this, that little blue circular button. I click on that, and so now as I click on a question, as you can see, as I click on the answer, the questions do pop out at me. So if you get lost in your workflow, you get lost in the assessment, the script will help you out as well. You can choose not to have these pop-ups. Like for me, it's much easier not to have those pop-ups. So I just will go back to that circular blue button and I just will click on it again. So we do have that enhancement for you there as well. And so one thing that I do want to show you guys is that I want to take your eyes down to the bottom of my screen where it says Amy E. Clark was discharged. So I am actually going to start filling out the first 5 questions to this assessment, but I want to draw your eyes to the very bottom and I want you to see what it will do. So may I please speak to Amy E. Clark? Yes. To whom am I speaking with? I'll just put Rica. I'm going to click on spouse. As you can see right there, your progress was saved. So this was an enhancement that we did. So, you know, I may be Jean Whalen. I am completing this follow-up call, but I get a page. I have a code stroke. I have to go out and answer it. So what this COMPASSCP app will do is now auto-save for you. So this is something that was not in the eCare app, and based on feedback from you guys, it was actually quite annoying because then the eCare app will log you out, and then whenever you log back in, none of your answers will be saved. So that's another enhancement, is that every 5 questions, this will get saved. So I will do it again just in case you guys didn't see me, but just draw your eyes to the bottom of the screen. So I'm now doing the medication reconciliation. Was it completed? Yes. Any discrepancies? No. Any concerns? No. As you can see right there, your progress was saved. So every 5th question, it does do that. So I understand that sometimes you may be called out and maybe you haven't gotten to that 5th question yet. So if you go to the right-hand side of my screen at the very bottom, you will see this pink icon. And so if I just click on that, it does auto-save for you. So another pop-up came that said your progress was saved. So we do have enhanced auto-saved abilities that was not in the eCare app that we have incorporated for you guys for COMPASSCP. So as I go down to the very bottom, I am going to hit save and finalize, even though I haven't completed some of the questions. So I will hit save and finalize. And as you can see, that bottom of the screen, I'll click it again. There are 18 required questions that had no answer. So we do let you know the number of questions that were missed, and I'll click it again. There it goes. And now we do highlight in pink the questions that you missed. So in the eCare app right now for the research study, if you were to click on save and finalize, there would be a pop-up that comes up that says you have missed questions. But of course, it doesn't tell you where those questions are, and you have to go through this assessment to try to find it. But we now have given you the ability to easily see the questions that you have missed. So that is just some of the enhancements that we have put in all of the assessments. So is there any questions so far before I move on?
So, Rica, I just have one comment. It's Sylvia again, little chatty Kathy. I saw like the last time where it said that it saved, but I didn't see it the other times. Could the rest of you see that when could you see it on your screens where it was popping up that after every 5th question there was a save? I didn't see it until the last time when you went over to the little pink button.
Oh, okay. I'll do it quickly.
I don't know why. I don't know why about that. And maybe other people could see it. It might just be my screen.
Oh, it's fine. I'll do it real quick. If you want to look at the bottom of the screen, are you on Coumadin? Yes. Have you had a test? Yes. What is your INR? I don't know. When did you have your test? I don't know. Have you had any stroke symptoms? Yes. There it goes. Your progress.
I see it. I saw it that time.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Someone else could have missed it, so I'm glad you brought that up. So that is actually how all of our assessments are. Let's see. I will go ahead and start building the care plan for you. As you can see, the post-stroke functional assessment has already been completed by me. I'm John. I did it today at 10:19 a.m. Apparently. So I will go ahead and generate the care plan for you. And so there are two differences with this. One is that you do not have to hit preview every time you build it. And second is the care plan now gets sent to the patient. And so you will actually all see that right now. So I will go ahead and build it. And so just like before, you were able to override stuff. So if I hit preview, it will let me preview, but if I hit build, it'll still let me build it as well. But I do want to take your eyes to something. I will just click build again. So right here, send email to patient. If I were to deselect that, the patient will not be sent an email. Maybe the patient does not have an email. That's something you would talk to your patient about. So I would just click on send email to patient. And then when I click build, here goes the building of the care plan. And so I don't know if you just saw, but I got an email saying that a new COMPASSCP. I'm the patient. Right here at the bottom of my screen on the left-hand side, you will see that COMPASSCP email. So I'm the patient. It just got emailed to me. So I will show that to you real quick. So there's the email. And so this is actually going to be the email that gets sent to the patient. And of course, it is still available on PDF. So you're still more than welcome to print it out as well. But this is what the email is going to look like for the patient. So we just click on that, and it's of course, it's got the same access code and everything as before. And so the reason we wanted to do it by email as well is because feedback from you guys is that when you build a care plan, it does an access code, but let's just say you made an edit to the care plan and you regenerate it again. And some people don't know that it actually regenerates a new code. So that first code is completely obsolete to the patient, but sometimes the nurses get so busy that they don't send that new code to the patient, or they don't send the new code to the PCP or send the new code to the home health agency. So most of the patient or the outside providers have an old code. So with that email, it does keep the recent code most up to date. I hope that makes sense. So anytime a care plan is generated, all parties and the patient will get a care plan at that time through email. So that is another enhancement that we have done as well. So another thing that I want to show you guys, let me get my app together, is that we also have a way for you to, let's just say you're in Epic and you are at a patient, Amy E. Clark, and you want to go to Amy E. Clark's dashboard. You would click on COMPASSCP. It takes you to this. But let's just say that you are in Epic and you want to see your patient list on COMPASSCP. You really don't want to see a specific patient. You just want to see all of your patients. So how that gets presented in Epic is that you would need to be on your home screen in Epic or Cerner. So let me just click on that real quick. I will launch it. So let's just say you want to see all of your patients. This is actually what it will look like. So we do have the stroke list. So far, these are all the patients that have been identified. In the medical record, they've had a presenting diagnosis of stroke or TIA. So you do have a patient list as well. So if I go to Amy E. Clark, I can click on use this patient. And then there we are. We're back to the dashboard. So there is two ways to see the COMPASSCP app. You can see it with a patient in context, or you can see it with just the patient list with no patient in context. So that's that for you. And another thing I want to show you is that you guys as the PAC will now have a management system. So you guys will have a COMPASSCP dashboard. So I will click this, and this one is still an early view of this. I had a meeting with the team in Bulgaria, so they are still working to fix this. So this one is just this whole COMPASSCP is just still in working progress. So I'm just letting you know, especially this what I'm about to show you now just actually got released yesterday, so it is fairly new. But we are giving you a way to see what tasks are due, the 2-day call, the 30-day call. So I will just run through that real quick. So what would you like to do? Follow-up task. And of course, you would choose between stroke and cardiology. And so just as an FYI, we are bridging these out to heart failure patients and patients with heart attack as well, which is why you see cardiology. But for your purposes, you guys will click on stroke, and then you guys get to see what is due today, what is due in 2 days, and what is due past, like later, after 2 days. So today, loading activities, you actually don't have, I personally as a nurse don't have anything due today, but I will go to, let's see, cardiology. I think I have something in cardiology. So this is actually what it will look like. So it will show the date, and so this is still in draft mode. So we would change the format of that date. In Bulgaria, they do the year first, and then the month and the date. But we will definitely fix that. So that's just an FYI. But this is what it would look like. So as you can see, me as a nurse, I have a heart failure assessment due. Actually, it was due last week that I never did for this patient. So we do let you know what tasks are due, and it will be just like how it is in the Compass web-based application right now. It'll let you know if it was overdue. It will give you the dates of when it's due. So this is just still an early draft. As I said, it was released yesterday. So another thing that we give you the ability to do is that you now have a patient management system. And so as you will see, there is COMPASSCP patients, and there is patients from the electronic health record. So if I click on COMPASSCP patients, as you can see, there is a patient list that has both stroke and cardiology patients. If I go back to patient management, but I click on the EHR patients, these are the patients that were flagged in the health record as having a primary or second diagnosis of stroke or TIA, but we give the ability for the nurse to tell the system to put that into cardiology or put that into heart failure. So although, as I said before, COMPASSCP does auto-identify the patients for you, we still want you to just kind of go to this list and make sure it's correct. We do, you know, as we find when we launch the eCare app, some patients will be presented a diagnosis with the TIA, but then their final discharge diagnosis will be complicated migraine. So we would need a way for them to be deleted from the system, and so this is what this will do. So let's just, I'll give you an example. Christopher Sherman is right now in this list. They are not in our COMPASSCP patient list. But now, as I click on Christopher Sherman, I will go down here to click on Add to COMPASSCP, because right now he's being discharged, and now I know that he's actually not going to a SNF, he's actually going home. So I click on Add to COMPASSCP, and so it auto-populates the date of birth and the age for you. It will auto-populate the address, but we just didn't have an address in the medical record for this patient. But we will put whether this patient had a primary diagnosis of stroke or heart failure or heart attack, and hit save. So I will actually just do that real quick for you guys. So this date is mandatory, so I'll just do today's date. So I'll hit save, and now Christopher Sherman has now been moved to the COMPASSCP list. So if I go back to that COMPASSCP list, Christopher Sherman is now on there. So if I want to take him out from that list, I can just hit that trash can right here, and it will delete the patient from the COMPASSCP list. So this so far is just an early version of this, and I did give you other updates, such as another enhancement is now the Community Resource Directory is now going to be much broader. So if a patient is from Forsyth County, you are able to change that radius to make it outside of Forsyth County. Right now, the Bulgarian team is currently working on that. They are on milestone 4, which is actually supposed to be released to me next week, and milestone 4 just include the local community resource directory. So unfortunately, I can't show you that today because it's not going to be released to me till tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but next week. But this is what I wanted to show you so far. And so with this, just with our next steps, COMPASSCP will be expanded to heart failure patients and those with myocardial infarction. And that is what actually Rachel, my intern here, is actually doing that. I took the lead on stroke. She's taking the lead on heart failure. After this is developed, we actually have to beta test it, just like we beta tested the eCare app in Wake Forest 90 days before you guys launched. We actually have to beta test it within 2 to 3 health systems because we need to make sure that that EHR integration is going smoothly. And so that is actually what we have to do, and we are hoping to do that by March. So the interoperating team, the team from Bulgaria, we are shooting for them to be done with this whole thing by March, and then we will start beta testing it. And then it wouldn't be till after the beta testing that it would be accessible to other health systems, and of course they would have to buy the COMPASSCP app. But just another thing that Dr. Duncan and her co-founders are doing is that they are having ongoing communication with potential venture capitalists and organizations for partnerships. So there's just many routes that we are going to take. So the COMPASSCP is going to happen. There's just many different routes that that the founders are thinking of taking. One is to do a startup company, and then another route is to actually partner with a well-established health IT company instead of doing a startup company. So, but whichever route we take, there needs to be ongoing communication because with any new product, we need to have investors. So that is actually what Dr. Duncan is doing right now. Scott Rushing, who is our lead programmer, and myself are going out with her, going to these conferences to and have different meetings with all these health IT vendors and other health IT companies to think of partnerships and all this stuff. So regarding your question, Jean, I don't have anything confirmed, like how do we make this accessible after the beta test of the 2 to 3 health systems. So that, you know, something that I would have to just keep in touch with Dr. Duncan and all of her founders, because we've had a lot of interest in COMPASSCP just from the marketing company Blue Door, who's doing the market research for us. They've reached out to prospective health systems, and we're doing demos for them. They've actually scheduled some for this week and next week and next month because we've had other health systems that are interested. So unfortunately, Jean, I don't know the actual answer of how to make this accessible to you after the beta test, but we will definitely keep all of you up to date. And as this keeps growing and this keeps on getting enhanced, me and Sylvia will work together to share this knowledge with you guys.